Hey everyone, good Monday morning. It is April 28th. It is just after 8 a.m. here in Nebraska. Taking a live look over our tower camera to the west because there are some isolated showers out there this morning. It is cloudy. If you haven't stepped outside yet, you wouldn't know that it is humid outside too. It feels like there would be maybe something brewing, but cloud cover, you may be like, are we really going to get something later? Or is this kind of limiting what we may see later? Well, I think this cloud cover eventually clears out this afternoon. So we're going to talk through some of the current conditions we have out there, just in case you need to know some of that, and show you what's in place, and then talk about the risk for severe weather on Monday, later today, the day one risk, and then kind of get you set up for that, and then an important note with regard to how you receive your severe weather alerts. All right, temperatures out there just past 8 a.m. We are at 71 degrees in Lincoln. It is balmy. It is toasty already. It is going to be a toasty day. It's your first head out the door. It is humid too. It's humid inside, humid outside, feeling sticky. You've got dew points in the middle 60s. Wow, look at York now. Up to 68 degree dew points. Moisture already in place for what could be fuel for storms later on, for what storms may develop, if they develop. It is a conditional threat, really, today as I talk about this. Look at those winds as we're waking up, sustained around 20 to 30 miles per hour up in Omaha. Gusts around 30 miles per hour, if not a little higher. In Lincoln as of late, we've had wind gusts stronger than 40 miles per hour. In Omaha, it is gusty. The moisture's there. The warm front is lifting through the area. So we do have some spot showers. Turn lightning on to see if there's been any of that lately. Not really. Maybe within the last half hour or so. But nothing within that last frame as I stop this. So nothing really threatening to the morning. You may be caught under a spot shower. It won't be too much. Going back to last night, boy, I just wanted to quickly mention and show some of you this. There were 10 reports of tornadoes to come out of last night, including a large tornado on the ground for a time in the Sandhills. Tornado reports came from Bingham, Ashby, Hyannis, Whitman, and the Merritt Reservoir, and there was up to 3-inch hail reported in Bingham and Whitman last night. So a very eventful night in which there may be some storm damage surveys to be done by the National Weather Service out of North Platte, I believe. Yes, North Platte would be the National Weather Service office to cover that area. I know there was reports of a train and some cars of a train being flipped over from a tornado out in this area, so a lot happening Sunday evening. But then the setup for a potential severe risk in eastern Nebraska later on today. This is if storms develop. But here's the latest. There was a scheduled update as of about just before 8 a.m. from the Storm Prediction Center, and I wanted to make sure we got past that if there were any changes. There have been no changes since what you saw this morning in the morning show, if you were with me for the morning show. But there is still a very quick kind of increase in each category of severe weather as you go east through eastern Nebraska. So you've got a very slim marginal risk here from Columbus south towards Seward and toward almost Fairbury. Lincoln, Beatrice, Wahoo, areas of eastern Nebraska, and that slight risk, we may see storms first develop in this area. And if they do, they would have a really short window to become severe, with an increase in that severe risk toward Omaha, Nebraska City, Falls City, the Missouri River, into Iowa. And there is an enhanced risk that extends from Kansas City all the way through Green Bay, much of Minnesota and Wisconsin, with a moderate level 4 out of 5 risk that includes Minneapolis, northern Iowa, portions of Wisconsin. That is where they may have a tornado outbreak later. The better chance for EF2, if not greater, tornadoes is up that way. But breaking down each of those risks specifically for Nebraska, because that's who we cover, Lincoln is in a 2% risk. So is Beatrice. Can't completely rule out tornadoes. It is a lower end risk, not zero. something we will be monitoring for after about 2 o'clock. I haven't really said the time frame of this yet, but it is about 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. this evening that we will be watching for severe weather in a slim window across eastern Nebraska. That 2% jumps to a 5% toward Omaha, and those in the enhanced risk. And then you notice I point out here the better chance for an EF2 or higher is into Iowa, Des Moines, and then the red is even a bump in percentage toward Waterloo, La Crosse, northern Iowa, Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota. Large hail is definitely on the table. Could be destructive 2 to 3 inches in this area with black hash marks in eastern Nebraska. But you notice the red, that's a bump in percentage up to 30% toward Omaha within 25 miles of a point is what you're looking at. And then into Iowa. Damaging wind, this is interesting. I don't know that I have seen this low of a risk for damaging wind when we've got all threats of severe weather on the table, but I don't think we can rule out 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, but wind won't be the main concern even though it is on the table. Then we talk about ways to receive alerts. Usually, and I've realized that my little box of me is covering friends and family, usually a lot of you may rely on the NOAA weather radios to receive alerts if severe weather were to move into your area. But I wanted to especially point out today that those weather radios will be down. There is a scheduled, required update from the National Weather Service for their transmitters that has to happen today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, so they will be down for this event for Monday's potential severe weather. So have multiple other ways to receive alerts should severe weather happen if we go into a watch or if there are warnings later today. TV, radio, cell phone, web pages, different apps. Outdoor sirens, again, are only for those outdoors, out and about later this afternoon. They're not for you to hear inside, so do not rely on that. And then the last bullet that I'm kind of covering up, again, friends and family. So here's Stormcast. This is 9 a.m. Spot shower, spot isolated thunderstorm, mid-morning possible, but that clears out. And then you also notice the clouds clearing as well. Beyond noon, some breakage to that cloud cover. Looking at the sun poking out, feeling some instability with what moisture is already in place. And some winds at the surface already too, as we've seen this morning. But I do want to point out that not all short-term models are pointing out storms whatsoever. In fact, it had to take me cherry-picking a model to even show you the potential for some storms later today. So there are a lot of models that show no storms altogether, storms just through northeast Nebraska, which would die out before even a risk for southeast Nebraska. But I do want to show you what potential is out there. Beyond 2 o'clock, we may be watching for largely, again, hit and miss isolated storms to pop up that would quickly intensify over eastern Nebraska. And they move to the north and east throughout the day, too. So keep that in mind. And then out of our hair, 6, 7 o'clock into the Iowa side of things from this model. And then kind of quieting down throughout the night and into Tuesday morning with some more sunshine, some cooler temperatures beyond the cold front. So if I back up, actually, what's threatening these storms first, if I'm getting into the nitty-gritty of meteorology, is the dry line comes through. There's a feature, it kind of acts like a frontal boundary. It separates a lot of moisture, which we're seeing this morning, from very dry air. And it can be the reason that storms fire up. And I think we're originally going to be watching that dry line and how it may initiate storms through eastern Nebraska before beyond 6 o'clock. You'll see, if I stop it right there, about 10 o'clock again. Oh, something like that. Okay, this does the trick. Getting my arrow out again. You'll see this initial line trying to form in western Iowa. This may happen over northeast Nebraska and then into Iowa. This is the cold front eventually coming through. So it would be the dry line first and then the cold front after about 6 p.m. that may spark up some isolated stronger storms and then we're done for the night. So things to look out for, things that we're keeping in mind. Again, that window about 2 to 6 p.m., I think, for much of eastern Nebraska. Okay. I was going to try and see if... Okay. The damaging wind threat is there. I think that's less than what we normally have. I would hesitant to even put a second bar in there, the yellow, because damaging wind is not really the primary threat. It's hail tonight, 2 to 3 inches, and then what could be strong tornadoes that not everyone is going to see. Largely hit and miss storms again tonight. So after today, and after a warm day here in Lincoln, high of about 87 degrees, we're in the upper 60s tomorrow. I think I'm going to try. I've been golfing a lot lately, and I've got a shorter week as it is because I'm in a wedding for the first time ever. I've never been a maid of honor, and I'm really excited for that, so I'll be off Friday. But we've got cooler air, pleasant day Tuesday, some of that humidity being swept away. Rain chances again Wednesday. Thursday's May 1st. Partly sunny, more sun, beautiful day on Friday. So a lot to look forward to in the near future. Hopefully we can dodge the severe weather threat. Again, it is very conditional, and that window is 2 to 6 p.m. And remember that the NOAA weather radios will not be of use, and they will not be working for the potential for severe weather later today. So have many other ways. We'll be cutting into programming if needed, and trying to update you on social media the best we can as well.